Tonight, Speaker of Parliament clashed with Majority Leader over setting up of committee to consider petition by UT Bank founder and Unibank's majority shareholder for a probe into conduct of the bank of a 7-member committee to probe the matter.
This is Top Story with Evans Mensah.
The Nation Builder is also brought to you by Belacqua Mineral Water, a 7 Kofi Amoabeng and major shareholder of Unibank, Dr. Kwabena Dufo, asking Parliament to investigate central bank's decision and reinstate their licenses. Now, the decision by the Speaker, Alba Raising, pitched him firmly against the NPP majority side, led by, of course, Minister for Parliamentary Affairs or a court of competent jurisdiction. Now, listen to that exchange.
I must also register that I disagree.
Majority Leader, who says that Mr. Speaker cannot admit a petition of this nature. I don't want to assume powers I don't have.
Oversight responsibilities. Question time is representational oversight. You have. So, Mr. Speaker, to say that there's no express provision, so that cannot be. I'm expressing the opinion that I also disagree with you, and I do so strongly.
Majority Leader, and there are executives directed against government or members of government is for leadership to establish the committee before we rise.
Is being moved by a motion. That is what I heard him say.
It's because you came in late.
Possibility of petitions, and that the speakership is only a conveyor belt.
Has a very open mind and heart. The Speaker became majority leader. The Speaker became Deputy Speaker. So the Speaker will definitely act in his own opinion. He hasn't got. So I considered all this. The good people of Ghana will be participating in our activity this house is all about. Let the petitions come. So please, we are expecting that during the recess, and then report to the House at our second.
In Parliament, Osechi Mensah Bonsu. Mr. Mensah Bonsu, thank you for your time here on Top Story.
Which minister's directive?
Oh, sorry, the Speaker's directive, yes.
Well, the Speaker says that the way forward. That is, to hear the petition or not to hear the petition. I thought him to, because a matter is before the courts. The courts have not, and from the courts, the two people in union, the matter is sub judice.
And so the petition should not be admitted at all?
And so, no provision in the Constitution or the standing orders debarring him from admitting. As I said, the House then will be inundated with petitions from left, right, and center. If the
standing order that indeed supports the position
orders provide that the person presiding not mention or argue in such a manner as to prejudice the
submitted report, and debate is about to commence.
The two are even different. And we are more or less precluded in, and if in the opinion of the person presiding, it will have an effect on the lifted to Parliament, lock, stock, and barrel for Parliament to decide. And you think that Parliament, the determination by Parliament is that the licenses of the two, and the courts also, after exhaustive inquiry into it, come to the determination.
And wouldn't the 7-member committee make a determination first whether or not this is indeed one of those
opinion, juxtaposing the outcomes? I think it was wrong for the Speaker in the first place to challenge his opinion, I could come by a substantive motion. I could do that.
Will you do that?
I fancied the situation that I did to challenge the opinion of the speaker. The motion is concluded, and the question is put on the motion. And fancy the situation that the speakers
Carrying out what the procedure allows you to do in the case where you disagree.
Deflating the speaker. The speaker is.
So do I hear you say?
That's why I try to engage him behind.
Yeah, because in fact, part of that spilled out on the floor today, which I followed quite closely. I had some of your leadership did in that caucus meeting, and there was some form of a gentleman's understanding there, but he played out.
I wasn't in the preceding meeting.
Yeah.
So I met them midstream. So I matter to a 7-member committee.
Out of curiosity, let me ask this question. You say because although you disagree, you simply comply.
That's the point I'm making. That we should all endeavor to push his ruling, because he was inviting me to do that. That if I'm challenging him, if I disagree, I told him that I disagree with you. Just like, because this matter had come last week, and we discussed, even behind the curtain discussion, should you as a speaker have lifted it to the chair to talk about that?
To be fair to him, he had allowed the leadership to try and deal with this, but you guys were not making progress, and so he received
the petitions and copied them to me. He didn't say to me that he wanted my opinion. But if you have a letter copied you, do you have to make any forget? I am the chairman of the business committee. If the speaker agrees that it should be fat, is the reason why he referred the matter to me, and that is why I engaged him privately on that. Hello?
Yes, sorry, you were making a point.
Yes, so that is what I told him. But I traveled out and came back last. He was already chairing when I came here, because I had to have some engagement with the ring chair, and I couldn't have the opportunity to discuss anything with him.
Will you?
That's what I'm saying. I think the import of what I've said is that he's made a ruling. I have expressed my distrust business.
Okay.
If I am not minded to do that, I'll challenge him and say to him that he's wrong, and I will not pursue the matter further with him. And so I think that there are matters that, as we go along, we will soon plateau, and we will come to some determination and some agreement.
You go on recess, and they must do their sittings during the recess and bring a report by the time
the deputy minority
leader. Yeah.
And I already expressed agreement with him with that proposal. And I said I agree with him that the committee, as I said, to the extent that I'm not challenged with the suggestion or the ruling by the speaker, that we form a 7-member committee, the 30th of this month. And what it means is that before we adjourn on Tuesday, we should compose that committee of May. And by that time, hopefully, the committee would have finished.
And, for example, have the power to order a reinstatement of a banking license revoked by the central bank?
The matter is sub judice. So I thought that we should stay away for the time being. If after going to court, so and now you raise another fundamental issue, the Bank of Ghana. But for now, as I said, to the extent that I'm not challenging the speaker's directive. Let's
go. With your thoughts on this, and we'll wait for the committee to constitute.
Thank you for having me.
Great. So that's Chairman's committee. As we know, in terms of the details of this committee, as the Speaker has directed, it's a 7-member committee. 4 of is to consider the petition. Their report is supposed to come before the plenary. After report would then be subject to some debate on the floor, and that will determine how they proceed of Unibank. And Mr. Mwabeng, who is a co-founder of UT Bank. They are asked a reversal of that revocation of the licenses. I want to bring in Edward Bauer. Thank you for your time here on Top Story. So as we just heard, the leader from the NDC, MPP, is already before a court of competent jurisdiction. Why?
Thank you very much, Evans. I think that the issues of the fact that the case on the floor of the Parliament. Mr. Speaker's ruling was that Ghanaians whether individuals or us, and no power to say that on the basis of X or Y, I would not receive a petition. Parliament may not go into an issue if it is before a court of competent jurisdiction. Its own recommendation may tell us that, look, this is what we have found, but per our own standing orders, these are the challenges we are going to get. The fact that the very action will offend our standing orders, then Mr. Speaker can have a ruling on it. But at the time, you first will have to take it and then refer it to a committee. And most often they're not, depending on the type of committee.
Except that, Mr. Bauer, as we learned today, that what happened today, there's no even provision in your precedented. I mean, why was it so important when other petitions had come before you and they hadn't received?
Guide our conduct. Order 6 indicates that Mr. Speaker will make some recommendations on the basis of which we can follow. But
this is not the first time. This is not the first time citizens have petitioned Parliament. We haven't never seen this.
And again, Mr. Speaker spoke about that. Mr. Speaker indicated that we ran a participatory democracy exempted to the House. I investigated.
So this is a new era, I guess.
This is a new era. This is a new era. He, as the Speaker of Parliament in the 8th Parliament, will ensure that petitions are investigated because
this tense relationship that played out today before the Speaker, before the House, between the Speaker and Chairman joins me on the line, our parliamentary correspondent, to fill us in on this. Parker, we've heard the banter on the issue surrounding the petition, but then addressing the House, that got some pretty, exciting exchanges also flowing in the House today. What?
And they have actually concluded on the debate over whether to admit the petition or not. The Speaker, at the time he was the Deputy Speaker, was very consistent on something. And that thing is very simple, that he always encouraged members. See, he can easily be identified. And so according to Chairman Sabonsu, the Speaker at the time, Ivan Babin at the time was a Deputy Speaker, when we lacked that thing. And it's a bit surprising and worrying to him.
Yeah.
Insistence that members speak from their seats so that you'll be able to identify them. But I encourage you to be consistent with this so that everybody will speak from his seat, his or her seat.
Majority leader, that's why I'm applying it to him.
On what grounds? Because you were sitting
Honorable
in this chair.
Majority leader.
Yes, I hear you, Mr. Speaker. I will take this on board. Don't relax it. Don't relax the rules.
Honorable Majority Parliament, as to the role of the Speaker, you haven't reached there yet. When you get there...
That is that exchange there between the two gentlemen. There's more from Parliament because of the allegations of a crisis that shortly. Stay with us here on Newsnight in just a few